I want to take this opportunity to welcome you all to this all-important presentation, a presentation aimed at actually strengthening us and empowering us to be able to take on head on with our career development and also our professional development. We are to tackle the topic CV writing, how to come out with an impressive CV. We have come to this particular topic today because of a research we conducted as an organization to find out why a lot of graduates these days finish the university or the colleges of education or colleges, and they keep on writing letters upon letters, sending CVs upon CVs to several departments, organizations, and yet they don't even call them for interview in the first place. We realized that there was a gross knowledge gap when it comes to the issue of crafting a very impressive, very captivating, and a more engaging CV that will compel the employer to want to see you in the first place. We realize that a lot of graduates are not able to craft a very powerful and convincing application letter. We want the employer to want to see them, want to see the person behind the application or the CV. So after conducting this research, and we had this empirical revelation, we started mobilizing and organizing trainings for young ones straight away from the university, and we realized the result was so tremendous. So we decided that we are going to go from move between the university fresh graduates to departments and institutions that are battling with this particular challenge of writing these and then writing a very convincing CV, preparing them for interviews and the rest. Today, ladies and gentlemen, the topic, as we said, is CV writing. And the question is, what is a CV? The full meaning is curriculum vitae. And curriculum vitae is a Latin word that has to do with the course of one's life. The course of one's life. It is a detailed accounting of not only a person's history of education, experiences, and qualification, but also other related accomplishments by the individual. It is generally used when an individual is looking for a job, promotion, or a position in life. Every individual in this world is supposed to have one CV or the other. It doesn't really matter where you belong. It doesn't matter your level of education, your level of achievement. You need a CV that tells people who you are, what you are made of, the skill you have, the competencies you have. So the fundamental aim of a CV is to market you and to sell, offers the opportunity to sell your skills, your abilities, your qualifications, and your experiences to the employer. And that is it about. We have type of CVs. We have the chronological CV, the functional CV, combined CV, and narrative CV. The chronological CV has to do with, just as the name denotes or connotes, it's a chronological achievement, accomplishments, educational journey of the individual. And it follows a chronological order from the highest down to the lowest. We also have a functional CV. The functional CV has to do is somehow technical. For instance, if you are applying as an engineer to an electrical company, your CV will be different from someone who is applying for any other job at all, probably in the bank or in an NGO or whatsoever. So the person applying for a technical job must come out with the qualification, the skill relating specifically to that area, and that is called a functional CV. Then we also have a combined CV. The combined CV has to do with a combination of the chronological and the functional CV in one. That is called a combined CV. Then we have a narrative CV that is mostly used by lecturers when they are, compiling, when they are having a compilation of their academic achievement. You see them giving narrative of projects, researches they've conducted and all that. That is called a narrative CV. Then, what are then the basic framework of a good CV? This is where I want us to pay a lot of attention, because a lot of graduates or candidates keep on messing up the structure, and as a result, making the CV not so impressive to be desired by an employer. So we have some important aspects of an impressive CV I want us to take look at one after the other. Number one is your personal details. CV is supposed to contain your personal details. That has to do with one, your name, your official name, two, your address that is reliable, through which you can be contacted if the need arises. Three, your telephone number, in fact, your existing functioning telephone number by which you can be reached out anytime. And four, your email through which you can be reached. And let me say this: your email must be, even though it's personal, it must be official and formal when you are using it on your CV. Let me repeat that. Your email, even though it's personal, when you are designing an email or put an email on your CV, it must be official and personal. It must be official and formal. I am saying this because most candidates use emails that are not desirable and can speak volumes regarding the kind of person or caliber of person you are. Imagine you design your email and you indicate it. Let me just give an example. You indicate yourself as sexysteven at gmail.com. sexysteven@gmail.com, or wicked sakura at yahoo.com. Even though it's your personal CV, your personal email, it must be official and must have some kind of seriousness that reflects. If you come out with an email like this for any employer, already they know the kind of person you are. No matter how impressive the rest of your CV is, this alone can let them throw your CV and your application into the dustbin. And then number five, your date of birth. And in fact, your date of birth is optional. I will even suggest that you don't even put your date of birth. Why? Some employers can discriminate against you based on your age. So they will not even invite you to see what competence skill you can display on the interview ground. But just based on your age alone, they throw your application and your CV away. So don't your date until the job or the employer requires it. Don't put it there. And then and the last one under personal details is your in some jurisdictions they put some people put their picture, their passport on their CVs. Please, in Ghana, mostly it's not advisable. As I said, you can just look into your face and just say, "This guy said I really hate him in the first place," and they will throw away your application. So don't put your picture or your image on your CV as part of your personal details. Then we come to the number two. That has to do with your career objective or your profile. I would prefer that you use career profile instead of career objective. Why? To indicate career objective, it denotes that you you are rather looking for something or some gains from the organization. But career profile indicates that you have you have a value or something to offer to the organization. So mostly, I normally recommend that people use the term career profile. It connotes you have something valuable that the organization or the employer needs that you want to offer. You are coming on board with a solution or a value that is required basically by the employer. And that is what career profile notes. So it must be concise, succinct, self-captivating, and appealing, indicating what you have to offer. And let me repeat that. It must indicate what you have to offer. Any employer, before you advertise a position to get some employees, you have a problem or a challenge you desire to solve. So among the applicants, the one that offers the most appropriate solution to the challenge that you are being confronted with is likely to be invited for an interview. That's very important. So we must approach the design and the formulation of our CVs with the consciousness of presenting a solution or a value or something you think the organization needs in order to function or to grow or to expand. That's very important. This is the only thing that will attract the employer to want to have a face-to-face interaction with you, to learn more about the details of your solution and the value you are bringing on board. Very important. So, for example, I have an example there: a financial analyst with 5 years experience in financial audits, company valuation, risk analysis, and financial modeling. If the company is already battling with the issues of company valuation, risk analysis, financial audits, and you present such a thing, this portion of your CV is so critical. It is the magnetizing factor in the whole of your CV. Some employers will only read this and get a clear picture regarding whether you are the right candidate they need or not. So you must pay critical attention to this portion of the CV, because that portion can either make or make you, depending on how you craft it. And usually you craft this based on the job description. Normally, every position that the employer wants to get someone to occupy is advertised. And they normally categorically come out with your responsibilities, the role you're supposed to play, and your job description. So you take out what the employer needs and compare that with your current qualification and competence. And then you pick that and make sure that it reflects in your career profile at this stage of your CV, so that the employer sees you addressing their challenge, sees you as a solution that will come and address their challenge. Very important. Then we move on to the third level, or the third component of the structure of the CV, the structure of the standard CV. We have education and qualification. Here, you list and highlight your degree or diploma in reverse chronological order, beginning with your highest qualification. For instance, you indicate if it is Master's in Public Administration. You write that one and highlight it. indicate the name of the institution or the university that you obtain this particular master's degree. And then you proceed on to indicate the year of completion or the date obtained. Very important. Then you indicate relevant courses offered during the program at the university. And if the courses you offer has some connection with the position you are vying for, you indicate that. And then you also indicate possibly the GPA. That is to say, if the GPA is very strong, you know probably you will almost broken some first class or first class upper, very strong GPA. Indicate it, because we are living in a highly competitive world, and every job advert attracts thousands and thousands of others. You are presenting yourself in a manner that will let you have a competitive edge or competitive advantage over the rest of the applicants. So it's important for you to indicate every strength of yours that you think will have a compelling effect in getting the employer or the job owner invites you for an interview and want to see you face to face and they dig deep to know who you really are and what you are really made of. Then you also indicate special trainings or licenses obtained or certificates obtained. Indicate all that. If you have attended in the course of your previous job, you went for some workshops, you were trained on cyber security, you were trained on fire, you were trained on anything that you were trained on that you think will have a bearing, relevant bearing on the job you are applying for. Indicate it. You also indicate academic awards, honors, recognitions, and then honors membership of a particular organization or professional body. You indicate all that. Everything, the qualification and your education that will put you ahead of the competition, please indicate it. It's very important. You have to also indicate your thesis, because your thesis was written and based on a particular subject area. If the subject area is connected to the position or the job you are applying for, indicate it, and that may give you an added advantage. Very important. Then we come to the next one. The fourth one is the work experience. Work experience. Very important component of the CV. Employers are looking for people who have gathered enough wealth of experience that they can display in the course of the work, new positions. And your ability to corrupt this out, indicating the relevant experiences you have gathered, that will have a positive, tremendous effect on your new job, will give you an added advantage. So usually you take care of your indicate your employment history in reverse chronological order. That is to say, if your last job was possibly the managing director of Data Bank, Sunyani branch, indicated managing director, Data Bank, Sunyani. If the job before you came to Data Bank was possibly the National Operations Manager, National Health Insurance Authority, indicate that. So you indicate that in reverse chronology to the last job, the first job you encountered in your life. Very important. Then the next one will include company name, the position. For instance, if you mention that you were the managing director of Data Bank, you will indicate the company name is Data Bank. If you mention that you were the National Operations Manager for National Health Insurance Scheme, if the organization is called National Health Insurance Scheme, you indicate the date you entered, the date of employment. Very important. Then the next one has to do with you highlighting by quantifying the achievements based on the job you occupy. And those achievements must be indicated in what I call action words or dynamic verbs. implemented. I implemented, organized, elaborated, analyzed, mobilized. Though all these things are action verbs that denotes the activities you carry out in your previous job that you think will be of much relevance to the new job that you are about to go in for, the promotion, the next position you are about to occupy. So take note of this. So when you are outlining your achievement, you must outline them in action words or dynamic words. Very, very important. Then this session must be succinct, eloquent, and well structured. That will capture the attention and the admiration of the employer who will want to see you face to face. Very important. Then we come to the fifth component. I call it the customized section of your CV. The customized section of your CV has to do with your leadership roles and accomplishments. You will in life, you play some leadership role in one way or the other. Outline all those leadership roles and your achievement in those positions you occupy. And you also have to indicate your professional membership. Do you belong to the Public Relations Officers Association, NAT, NAGRAT? Now, my brother Eric, as he was being introduced, you see that he belongs to so many professional groupings. That not only indicates your rich experience, it indicates your diversity and your how versatile you are as an individual. Very important. Then you have to also indicate if you have ever volunteered to undertake certain projects for a community, for an organization, your previous organization or company. Indicate all those voluntary services, because that alone also speaks volumes about the caliber, the kind of person you are. You are one person who has the spirit of volunteerism. You are not only just moved by monetary or material gains. You are someone who is willing to give out, and that will also be an added advantage to the general perception that your employer will have about you. Very important. Then the sixth component has to do with your interests or hobbies. Please, this portion of the CV must be short and straightforward. You don't have to write much under this portion. Keep it short and to the point. Don't put many passive, solitary hobbies. For example, you say, I like reading, I like watching TV. The employer will say, huh? You like watching TV? So we should employ you to come and be watching. If you don't have a TV to watch now, you will go on your phone and be watching short videos, TikToks and other things in the office. That will affect you, will affect your selection for an interview. And reading is solitary and is passive. You must indicate something that has to do with the fact that you are a sociable being. You are a people-centered person. You have people skills. Indicate those kind of hobbies. For instance, when I finish with this, we'll be discussing some of the hobbies you can use to make sure that they are somehow related to the position you are applying for. It is very important. Let me repeat that. Your hobbies should have some connection and correlation with the position you are applying for. That is very important. Show a range of interest to avoid coming across as a person of narrow competence and qualification. Very important. And if you were the captain of the school football team or a volleyball team, you were a class prefect or the agency president, indicate it here. These are things that will make the people understand, the employer understand that you are a leader by nature, and you come on board with such leadership skills. Showing evidence of your employability skills, such as team working, organizing, planning, persuading, negotiating, And all that will make your CV so impressive. Indicate all these things, and you will be good to go. Then we have the CV. The seventh is the skills. All the skills you have learned that you think will have some positive bearing on the job you are applying for, indicate them. For instance, languages spoken. If you can speak about 5 languages, some you are so proficient, some you are so fluent, some you can only just speak but you're not so fluent, indicate that. Some is just understanding, indicate all that. And that will give you an added advantage. Computing, if you have computer knowledge in probably in Microsoft, Excel, and other component that you think you will need in the execution of your job, please indicate all that. If you can drive and you have a driving license, indicate all that, because they can all serve as an advantage for your being selected to come for an interview. We come to the last component of a CV that has to do with reference. Here, you will have to identify some people, some key personalities who know you very well and can vouch for you. They may be your director or the head of your company, your previous employer, or your supervisor at the university or the college. So, but this portion, to some extent, you can omit it until it is demanded for by, or is basically required of you by the employer. You eliminate it, because this is another point somebody can use probably to discriminate against you unfairly and probably through your application. Imagine you indicate someone as a referee who happens to have some growth with the company in the past. They will look at, they may discriminate against you based on that. So you can always indicate that I will provide referees when the need arises, or if you need it, I will provide it and leave that person. But if it becomes necessary for you to indicate your referees, please, you have to get them and put that on a separate sheet, on a separate page. Please, let me add this. Don't merge it with the other component. The referees should be on a separate sheet. One can be academic and one professional. The academic can be your supervisor, and the professional can be, or career can be, your director or head of department, or your CEO of the company, depending on your relationship. Very important. The order and the emphasis will depend on what you are applying for and what you have to offer. Very important. Then we come to cover letter writing. You must open with an engaging, compelling cover letter. You all know your CV and your application letter normally go before you. What that means is that before the company can call you for an interview, they would have perused your cover letter and gone through your CV. So if these two are not properly crafted, you are in trouble. They will not even they will not want to see your face in the second place. So please make sure you get it right the first time. The cover letter is often the first element of your job application that your prospective employer will read, often ahead of your CV. So if they read your application letter and it's so horrible, it's not attractive, it's not appealing, and it does not offer them the value they need in the company, they will throw it into what they call file 13. File 13 is normally the dustbin. So take note of that. For that reason, it's important that you get it right the first time. Very important. The cover letter tips that I want to share with you. Step 1, start very strong. You must start your cover letter very strong. indicating powerfully the value and the solution you are bringing on board that you think the organization needs. Very strong. Number two, do research well on the organization you are applying for. Every organization these days, you can do the research either by contacting someone who is already working there to know what they do, the challenges they are going through, what they require, and all that. Do the research very well. Number three, choose your best bits. Your best bits are the qualifications, the competence that you have that you think are connected or related to the job you are applying for. Please make sure they are connected. And number four, list your other skills. Other skills that you think are relevant to the new job you are applying for, list them. And number five, finish with a call to action. A call to action is when you end the letter, you call on them, hoping to hear from you and looking for the opportunity to showcase further my qualification and my skill for joining an interview. All these things are calling for action. Very important. Then interview skills and CV writing. We have the pre-interview, interview, and post-interview. Please, these three components come together to constitute what we call the whole interview thing we've been talking about. Where the pre-interview, interview, and post-interview. Employers' objective for conducting an interview is one, to find out whether you can do the job. And with that question, they want to find out, do you have the skills? Do you have the ability? Do you have the qualification? That question alone, can you do the job? Can you do the job? Your skills, your abilities, and your qualification. Number two, will you do the job? That question is about interest, attitude, and motivation. Do you have interest and passion for the job? Do you have positive attitude on the job? Will you have positive attitude on this job? Do you have motivation to do this job? These are very critical, and that's what the employer. And number three, how will you fit into the organization or the position? Here, they are talking about your personality. They're talking about your personality. And are you someone that is so temperamental with a least provocation? You want to set the whole organization on fire? Are you someone that can work in a team, that can contribute to team development? Are you someone? These are questions that they want to elicit from you, the applicant. So please, you are going for an interview with these three main questions in mind. Can you do the job? That's where you have to come out with the skills you have, the abilities you have, the qualification you have. Showcase that before the panel. Prove to them beyond all reasonable doubt that you have all it takes not only to function, but to excel on this job. Very important. And number two, will you do the job? The interest in the job is paramount. Your interest. Are you compelled by your parents to take up the job even though you don't need it? That will show in your attitude towards the job. Are you only motivated by something else other than your commitment and zeal and passion for the job? But that will also be shown in the interview. Very important. Now, you the job seeker, you also have an objective for attending the interview. You want to impress the employer and assess the position that is being offered. So you ask yourself, what does this position offer me? That's the question you ask yourself before you even go for the interview. How does it fit with my career plans? Some people go in for jobs just because of the money. And because of the money, that job has no connection with their career plans at all. That is good. You may do that and divert and get the money to go and back upon the journey of your career plans. That's okay. but you must understand what you are going in for in the first place. Very important. Then we come to the preparation stage. You know, preparation is the key to success. So, in for the interview, please, you must review your own skills, experiences, and qualifications. Write them down. What am I skillful at? What are my experiences I have gathered, relevant experience I have gathered over the years? What are my qualities? You must know them, and you must be able to communicate that eloquently before any group of people at all. Then you also check your CV. Check your CV, check grammatical errors, check on the arrangement, the structure. Also check on your certificates and make sure all the certificates are available, your testimonials, your recommendations, and other relevant documents that you must carry along with you to the interview ground. And then you must also anticipate questions and identify relevant examples that you would like to use. Anticipate some of the Machiavellian, difficult questions they may ask, and begin to fathom how you can address them, with confidence, competence, and with eloquence. Very important. And then prepare key selling points of yours, please. Before you go in for any interview at all, list down your selling points. List them down. Rehearse them. Go over them not once, not twice, until you are so confident with your own selling points. Because when you go for an interview, then every little opportunity they give you is sell yourself and sell yourself and sell what you are made of, that you think is relevant to the you are applying for. So you must know them by heart. Researching the organization. Every organization has a website, reports, articles, company literature, and all that. Contact and learn about the organization. Which industry is the organization found? What are they into? You have to find out all that. Personally visit or telephone calls can solve all these problems for you. So research the job and the occupational area you belong, job description, or similar current issues concerning the organization or concerning the industry that you are going in to apply the job in, and prepare your questions and practice them more often before you go into the interview hall. Now, watch body language. First impressions are very powerful and very important. If you go in, I have been saying this to most of the people, most of the young ones we mentor around the world, that you must approach every job interview with a lion mentality. You must approach every job opportunity or job interview with a positive mental attitude. If you feel already defeated, this interview I just know I'm going to fail. You have failed already. You must have a strong mental attitude before you enter to face any interview panel. If you don't have a strong mental attitude like that of the lion, no matter how prepared you are, you will get in there, and the face of the panel members, the real face of the panel members will let all your applause scatter, and you will be found wanting, seriously fidgeting, and then they will just see you as somebody who's not confident and competent enough to occupy the position. So we will have what we call the halo effect. The first impression is very important. I will also work on the devil effect. When you also go in and you begin to perform poorly from the beginning, they conclude that you are not good, and for that matter, they throw you out. Allow time to relax. Please, when you are going in for any interview, go early, about 45 minutes to 1 hour before the interview. So you can study the environment, relax, and just interact with friends, and then on before you are called. I remember I was on a panel in one organization. They invited some candidates. The candidate came very late. He just got to the place sweating profusely, and they just mentioned his name. He entered the interview hall and was sweating profusely. And the first question that came even added increased his temperature the more. And the gentleman was just confused completely. And we realized that even though he was good, he could not maintain a very positive composure, and that affected the gentleman seriously. So please go early and then relax before the interview starts. Very important. And please, your dressing, you must dress decently and formally. Don't, particularly, most excuse to say, our ladies, that's not the time. If you wear some big earrings, then when you sit down to turn, the earrings are ringing there, plim, 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 you are distracting. Or you dress in a manner, probably nothing you can dress to confuse the panel members. No, never think that, never think like that. Please dress modestly, enter with gentility, and then you will whatever and prove yourself in the interview. And you must also take note of your entrance, your introduction, and your handshakes. Very important. You must enter with confidence. You know, before you enter, you all know that when you know, you wait until they call you. When they call you, enter. Be the first to greet them. Be the first to greet. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and begin looking into their face. Eye contact is very important. Once you go in with that confidence, you suppress any intimidation that may come from them. That's very important. You must be the first to take charge of the environment, take charge of the atmosphere. Do not let them suppress you with their intimidations. No. Then everyone watch body language of the interviewer. Sometimes some are normally just there. They will not ask any question, and they are looking at your demeanor, looking at your posture, looking at your body language, and they will finally come out a killer question. You need to be very careful. When you are answering them a question and someone asks another question, just keep on finish with that one and then go to the next. Don't let them confuse and distract you. No, just remain calm and composed. Very important. Then typical questions that you are most of the time we are confronted with in interviews. About number one, they normally begin with you, about you. And the about you questions, some of them are, tell me about yourself. When they ask you this question, please don't think it is a simple question you have to start wasting time on by saying, my name is that, I come from this village, I was born in this year. Please, they don't need that from you with this question. Already, you have given your CV has given them details about you. Please, this is the opportunity for you to now bring out your selling points. You tell them about your qualification, your competence, your achievements straight away. There's no time for you to tell them about my father's name is that, my mother's name is that, just like the primary school when we have to write an essay about myself. No, please go straight to the point. The competences and the skill, the qualification and experiences you have gathered over the years. They may not give you an opportunity to say that. So you can put some here and let them see, most time from the experience you've gathered from organization A, organization B, C, and then the project you undertook to solve, that resulted in the success of those organizations and the initiative. All that bring the creativity you have ever engaged in, and then resulting in some positive results in your previous organization. Bring that out here. And the kind of person you are someone, a detail-oriented person, an excellent quality-minded person, result-oriented person. Tell them about yourself. So you are telling them about things about yourself that you think are connected to the position you are applying for. It's very important. Then we also talk about the second question of what experience have you had that is relevant to this position? You see, it's somehow related to this. So you begin to enumerate the achievements you have chopped, that you think, the experiences you have had that is relevant to the new position. Do you consider your major achievement to date? All these things and they can also ask you a question. One of the most Machiavellian questions they can ask you is, tell us about the boss you hated the last time. All these things, that is not a free bounty for you to go out chastising and denigrating your former boss. When you do that, they'll see that you have a personality issues. You have a problem. So please take note of that. You have to be very careful. Then about the job. What interests you about this job? This is a question they may ask you. So you have to go prepared to answer some of these questions. What do you know about this organization? If they ask you this question and you are not able to tell them, it means that you are not reading. You are not someone who's ready to learn. Because before you go for an interview, you must have learned about the organization, the industry the organization belongs, and what they do, and all that. You have to learn about that. How do you see your career developing from 5 years now, 5 years to come? If they ask you this question, be careful. You've entered to apply for probably a cashier, or let me say an accountant, and then they ask you this question, say, oh, my career projection, I am anticipating working with this organization. I want to see myself in 5 years time becoming the general manager of this organization. And the general manager is there looking at you because he's interviewing you. He's the one even interviewing you. So he will begin to notice that, you want to overthrow me. What you do is that you answer the question in a way that will let them know you will work hard to bring about the expansion of the organization, in that they will be creating regional branches within the next 5 years. And then because of your hard work, your commitment, dedication, and zeal for the job, you will contribute your quota to bringing about this expansion. And when there's expansion, based on your hard work, the organization will promote you to also head one of the branches in one of the regional branches. This one will let them know, yeah, you are entering with a positive mind to bring about transformation, development, and expansion. And for that matter, you are entering with a good spirit. That's very important. But don't begin eyeing the position of the general manager like that. You have to indicate in a manner for them to know that you are in for business and nothing else. Then general knowledge. They will ask you a question about general knowledge. What is your opinion about the LG BT plus? These are current issues they may ask you. What's your opinion about that? So you cannot say you are living in Ghana, things are happening, and you are not aware of what is happening in the world or in Ghana. So you have, before you go in for any interview, prepare on general knowledge and prepare on current issues. They will ask you. Very important. Now, salary negotiation. This is one of the critical areas they can use to shoot you down. When they get to this person, you must be very, very careful. Be careful not to sell yourself too low or to sell yourself too high. Avoid being, and let me emphasize this particular point a little. When they ask you, that normally has the last question they will ask you. How much do you want us to pay you? Please, when they ask you this question, don't rush to give any answer. Throw the question back to them and ask them what is on offer as far as this position is concerned. Normally, they will not tell you. Once they don't tell you, they will throw back the question to you and ask you again, how much do you think you are worth? Then you have to answer the question directly. You have to sit down, reflect, and then you get back to them and say, and tell them, don't give a specific amount, please. But before you went for the interview, as part of your research, you would have known the range, that position, the range, the amount in terms of range, that position give you on offer. So if they tell you that probably that all those workers within that category, they receive possibly 7,000 Ghana cedis a month, you will wait and then begin to ask them, throw the question back to them again and tell them the range within which this position, the amount or the amount that is offered for this range. But you don't mention, for example, let me just give this. I remember I was sat on an interview panel. A gentleman came in and they wanted to provoke him. All these things are ways of actually testing your temperament and your temperament and your emotions. Then the gentleman was reluctant to mention the amount. Then a member of the panel, I said, we will give you 500 Ghana cedis. Before I arrived, the gentleman said, what do you mean by that? Because the amount, and this was, what do you mean? He said, what do you mean? And it came involuntarily. So you have to be very careful when they give you, when they said, okay, we'll give you 500 Ghana cedis a month. So don't say, what do you mean? What you do is that you will nod your head and say 500 Ghana cedis. I think you are thinking about it. And then that is now the opportunity for you to then come and confront these issues direct by telling them your experience over the past, the last position you occupy in the previous organization, how much you were paid, and the solution and the contribution you brought on board and all that. And you tell them that for this current position, based on my qualification, my experience, and all that, I think I am worth between 7,000, a range between 7,000 and 10,000 Ghana cedis. Now, you've started with the amount you have researched to know, you have researched and found out that that's the amount they offer those people within that particular category of workers. So if you begin with this, between 7,000 to 10,000, they can't throw you out because of the amount you quoted. And that's very important. You must always give a range, but not a specific amount. Very important. Then do not fail to answer. Avoid being too familiar with the panel members. For example, you go for an interview and you meet my brother, Mr. Banya, who is already, most of the time, he's on the interview panel. Because you know him, you have been interacting with him, you are from the same place, he's a friend of yours, you go in there and he asks a question on the interview panel, he say, if you do that, you have just crippled yourself. Don't be too familiar with the things. No matter how you know them, no matter how familiar you are with them, don't show it on the interview panel. Ask your question officially, and then after the interview, you can have your informal interaction. Very important. And then do not also fail to answer questions. Don't say no, or no idea, or pass on. You should pass on to who? You're the only person sitting there and they ask you a question and say, pass it on. Pass it on to who? Please try to attempt every question they give you. If you don't know, don't say you don't know. What you say is that for this one, with your permission, I'll go and find out. That's a more intelligent way of actually saying you don't know. But if you say no, I don't know, it is not a good idea during an interview. And please, don't also beg. Don't go in there and be begging. My father died three days ago. And I remember there was an interview, a woman came in dressed in funeral clothes. Apparently with the eyes indicating someone who has actually worked for 3 days. Then they asked her why she dressed like that, and she said, my husband passed away some 3 days ago. I just went with the funeral. Please, you don't do this and win sympathy from the panel. It's not allowed. Don't go in there and be begging. You don't beg during an interview. Now, the interview marking sheet. Communication alone takes about 30% of the marks. Problem solving, your ability to communicate very well takes 30% of the total marks you'll be getting. Your ability in the course of answering their questions, proven beyond all reasonable that you are a problem solver, you get 20%. If you communicate in a way that impresses them to know and think that you are a team builder, you can fit into any team. That alone gives you 20%. Relevant experience, you indicate and demonstrate that. That alone also takes 20%. And then project management, your ability to manage projects, initiatives, that takes 10%.
Thanks so much for the opportunity, and let me also thank Mr. James so much. In fact, I'm very impressed with his submission. It has corrected a lot of things. I have two quick ones. The first one, the language, as he talked of as a skill, in so many CVs I've seen, usually I see it as part of the personal details or biodata. I don't know if more can be said about it. Then the second issue is that sweating, as we know, is involuntary. So if one goes into an interview room and it is observed that you are sweating or perspiring in a way, will that portray you as portray with some weakness in you, and probably the interviewers they'll fail you for that? These are the two issues I want to clarify. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Moderator. Once again, let me applaud my senior colleague, James, for a very excellent work done. In fact, he has virtually summarized all the things that I had in mind. And thank you very much for the opportunity to contribute to this learning section. So, as you know, I have been involved in a number of interview sections, and I've seen a scenario where the participant has just asked the question. Let me pick the issue of sweating. There is a difference between sweating because you have come late for an interview and therefore you are tense, and sweating maybe for medical reasons. You see, as he mentioned, it's involuntary. So you can actually have a medical condition in the interview, and that will lead to that kind of sweating. And the third one is maybe your inability to stand in the presence of a panel. Not everybody can speak to a team of more than three. So the panels in most cases are able to detect which of these three is the cause of your sweating. And as Mr. James already mentioned, in most cases, it's unpreparedness. People just come for interview late for whatever reason. And you cannot come and provide transport or traffic is the reason for you coming late. Not at all. It's unacceptable. There are thousands and one CVs that were received and they picked you up. Even if you need to go to the interview ground early enough, do. Most people are not able to even locate the place for the interview prior to the interview date. I don't know why they do that. If I'm you, the day before, I will try to locate where the place is. So you get familiarized with the environment, and that will reduce your chances of sweating. Okay. So take note of this, that going there to sweat will not be a point for them to have sympathy on you. No, it is almost always the case of people coming late for interviews. I hope I have addressed your question clearly for you.
Yes, please.
Thank you. The other one, I missed it. What were you talking about? You talk about language. What do you want to say? So, Mr. James mentioned to you that the first part of the thing, or is it the second part, is about the profile. That profile is a synopsis of who you are. If I read your profile, I automatically have a fair idea of all the things that are on the CV. It's the details that I'll go to the other section. So instead of adding to your bio data, most times I prefer that you add it to part the last bit of your profile. Then the details of your level of understanding of those languages will go and be in a different section that he has already mentioned about. So if you can understand French, Spanish, German, you understand them, fair knowledge about it. But now if I go to the details, I will see the level of understanding, whether it is understanding or speaking or writing, that you know for these languages. But for the biodata, please limit it to your biodata. Biodata means biological data. So just limit it there. Over. Thank you very much.
Please, good evening to you all. I thank Mr. James for the wonderful presentation. One thing I want to clarify is the number 4. He spoke about job experience. Now, my problem is, assuming I'm a student who have just completed my academic program. Now, I have never worked before. and this is the first time ever I'm going to work. With that one, what do I do? Should I leave it out or write it? And if I'm writing it, how do I put it? Thank you.
Before Mr. James comes in, let me just chip in something on this question. It's a very interesting question. My dear sister, when you were applying for the position, what was the position all about? I am sure the position has defined somebody they are looking for.
Yes,
If you are not
please.
the person, why are you applying if you are not the person? You see,
Maybe
so
per the program I offered,
yes,
let's say they want a teacher. I've also just completed teacher training.
okay. But you see, if you bring it to that level of a teacher, during your studies, there will be some experience you should have gathered while doing your studies as a teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Otherwise, it is unlikely for you to just leave and start applying for jobs that you are not even qualified for. So imagine the job was about an engineer. I mean, you don't have any experience in engineering, so you cannot write anything concerning it. That's why every job description normally comes with what they are looking for and what you are to do. Now, take what you are to do and relate it to yourself. Have I done any of this anywhere? What did I do in my life that links to this? Sometimes it might not just be directly, but something that you are doing and is linking to that. I give a practical example. A student left school, no experience, but she got a job with one of the big pharmaceutical company in Ghana. Why? The mother had a drugstore, not a pharmacy, a drugstore where this girl used to sell the drugs after school, from secondary school to university days. By capturing it inside there, it gives the employer a clue that this person has an idea of once selling drugs. So she went into the marketing unit of the pharmaceutical company. You see, most of us underrate what we have done, and therefore we have a very deficient CV. And if you have a deficient CV and I don't know you, I don't know you. So sell up yourself. Please blow your own horn. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Wonderful. Wonderful. And let me just add,
Welcome.
Portia, that's why, just like my brother said, my brother Eric said, if you are going through any study, any course of study, there are times you go in, you go out for attachments, attachments. You personally get attached to somebody, just helping the person and gaining some experience, or helping an organization and getting some experience. Even your national service, when you if you are posted to a bank or you are posted to a pharmaceutical company, in your case, probably posted to a hospital, and you have been given some specific responsibilities to function. Indicate all that as the experience you have acquired or gathered over the years. For instance, if you are posted to a bank and they have asked you, you have joined the descent, and you ask the bank manager, they ask you, okay, you are working under the public relations unit. Tell in your CV, indicate public relations officer, and indicate the bank, because you have worked under that unit before. Or let's say you were sent to probably a pharmaceutical company, and you were at the sales unit. Indicate there the position you occupy there and the job description. All these are experiences that can support your claim that you have gotten. You have enough experience to take up the job.
Thank you for the opportunity. Please, I want to find out. My issue is with the referencing. Please, is it mandatory to get more than one referee in the CV for applications to any organization?
Yes, simple. It's not good only one reference. Some jobs will tell you the number of referees and the category of referees. If it is not stated, please go for a minimum of 2. And as Mr. James already mentioned, one should be your professional career referee, and one can be an academic referee. But those who left the academic field for more than 30 years, 40 years, they may just put only their professional referees. If you are just coming fresh from school and you may not have a professional referee, don't worry, put your 2 academic referees. But don't put your family members as referees. Thank you. Over.
Thank you.
My question is in two folds. One, the format you just taught us here is it applicable to all CVs since you have a variety of CVs such as the EU Pass, Canadian CV, and so on and so forth. And then the next question is with the cover letter. You gave us some point. Point was just as strong. I will be grateful if you can take that place again for me. Thank you so much.
This particular structure is applicable to the what do you call it? The jurisdictions of probably Ghana. As I was telling you, in some jurisdictions, they have a different structure altogether. But this is a standard structure that is acceptable within our jurisdictions. Very important. Okay. Yes. Number one is start strong, and you start strong in here. One, by identifying, you might have read and researched on what the company needs and its connection with the relevant experience and skill that you have. Connect it and let them know you are just the right person to solve the problem that they're being confronted with in the organization. That is how you start strong.
Okay.
Are you getting the point?
Yes, please.
Good. Good.
I'm grateful, sir.
Okay.
It's just to add to Mr. James' point. Starting strong is important because it becomes a conduit for them to connect you to the job. So, for example, if you are applying as an IT engineer, so after your first paragraph saying that, oh, I this and this and is applying for this as an IT engineer, your second paragraph should be able to tell that your maybe my 4 years work in IT engineering in this and this company over the past years has given me an in-depth knowledge and understanding of ABCD. These ABCD are the things the other organization is looking out for. So when I read that, I will know that, oh, Mr. Kofi has already worked here as an IT engineer in this and he has ABCD knowledge, which is exactly what I am looking for. So you easily connect, and then you are at least a candidate for them to consider for the next stages. Over. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Let me
you.
just add one. You see, I belong to a platform. I'll mention the platform where some youth came and were attacking people for not helping them to get jobs here and there and all that. And you see, the point is that these days, we all know the system is so porous to the extent that certificates, some people can manufacture certificates overnight. So what organizations are looking for is the skill, competence, and experience. So in every endeavor, as far as your CV writer is concerned or your interview is concerned, prove to your employers what you have done in the past. Show evidence of your competence. I'm saying this because you all belong to different platforms. How you can sell yourself. For example, if I am one of the best talents in the region, I will keep on putting on the platform. I just finished talent, and you mentioned one of the biggest hotel, or what do you call it? One of the biggest jobs you have taken with a reputable organization. I said, oh, I have the opportunity of talent. This indicate that on the platform. What your work you do, just put it there. When you keep on putting, let's say a computer engineer, you are someone who can do networking. Please, when you finish with a networking contract with, let's say, MTN, you just put it there. Oh, thank God, I just finished with the contract I have with MTN in networking all their offices across Ghana. This one alone, when Mr. Eric Banye comes across a job and they say they need someone who can do networking, and he knows you as a friend or a relative, he doesn't need your certificate to say, come and do it, because he knows you have been doing it and you have been showing it on the platform. But if you just say, oh, I've been in my degree, and you are waiting for people to call you, because many people have degrees, and the more impressive ones. So we need to be very careful. Now, the world is looking for people who bring solutions, who bring solutions, not just certificates, who bring value, not just qualification. It's very important. All right.
Let me just add to that. There is something we call competency-based interview.
Fantastic.
Now, in the competency-based interview, if I am on the panel, I will not ask you a question, what is this? With something starting with what is. If you ask such a question, all the young guys will answer, they'll rattle it, because they'll go and memorize it and come and talk. But very elderly people may not be able to memorize it. There is internet, so they can always go and answer. So what we asked are normally competency-based questions. And please, there are so many sites you can go and Google and find out competency-based type of questions. So these are questions that are based on what you have done in the past and the results of what you have done in the past. So it is not about the definition of anything, or it's not about the listing of anything, but it's about, for example, if it's a conflict, how have you encountered the situation of a conflict and how did you resolve it?
Good.
Have you encountered the issue of probably a low sales or staff are having an issue? So just think of those things that are based on your competencies, so that you can use that to then detail out the competencies that you've mentioned in the CV, like teamwork, collaboration, agility, adaptability, and whatever. If you cannot cite situations where you have exhibited these competencies, please don't mention them on your CV. Otherwise, you embarrass yourself. A panel member can just pick one of the competencies and ask, oh, show us how you've demonstrated this. Then you are beginning to start thinking, I think, you see, that alone gives me the feeling that you do not know it. You just copied somebody's CV. So be very careful about the competence you have put there. Sit down before the interview date, think through all your working career, identify situations where you have exhibited them, and go fully prepared. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. I really enjoy the presentation. My question has to do with you. Maybe I'm pursuing a program. I'm currently pursuing a program, but maybe a master's program I'm pursuing. I'm yet to finish that program. But can I add it to my educational qualification?
Yes, as ongoing.
Okay.
Simple. Take note, ongoing. 2024,
right,
that's ongoing.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, just spare me the next 3 to 5 minutes to share with the audience some tricks, generic, that will add up to what Mr. James has already mentioned. People who are interested in slides, I don't have slides, I don't speak with slides. Please, you can take your pen and paper and write. These are clear nuggets, very sharp points. First of all, they are not in any order of importance. I'll mix them up. First of all, tailor your CV for every job that you are applying for. Don't write your CV in 2019 and it's the same CV you are sending to us now. Don't send your CV to company A, and when company B is applying, is advertising, you just quickly just forward it. Sometimes I have received application letters and CVs where the address is even to a different company. It is a very bad. It's a very bad practice. Tailor the CV to suit the job that you are going for. That's number one. Number two, be specific and show your impact on your CV. Nobody is interested in a CV where you have listed responsibilities, or you go to online and copy responsibilities and come and put in the CV. Please, the CV is not a room for you to show responsibilities. It's a room for you to show impact. Turn those your responsibilities into impact. James already mentioned that use catchy words, moving words. Number three, proofread your CV and your letter. Personally, If I read the first paragraph and it's full of only grammatical mistakes, I cancel the CV. I will not proceed, to be honest. Diligence is very important. Please, if you cannot proofread, let your friend read it for you. It's not a private document. Let people read it for you. Correct all the words is and all those things. Correct them. It's very boring for much HR to do that. And number 4, show your passion on your CV. You see, you can read a paragraph and realize that no, I love this guy, even if he's telling a lie. Show your passion on the CV. Okay, I will not give the details on that, but take note of it. Again, use keywords and power words. So James mentioned that, but I want to emphasize on it. I'm not giving you any structure, but I'm just giving you some of the tricks. Use keywords. Now, these keywords are mostly called power words. Emphasize your value to that particular organization. I saw him, Mr. James mentioned like facilitated, mobilized, set up, driven, or drove. You see, you need to make them like an action words. You activated a whole system design. You've mobilized X number of sales for the company. You promoted this and this. Take note of those words. And at least there are a number of sites that you can go and get that. Now, my point 6 was on an issue he already mentioned. Use professional emails. I will not open an email where you written sexy boy love this and this at gmail.com. Who does that? I mean, I'll automatically see it as a spam mail. You can have those ones and register them on your social media account, no problem. But for a professional job, please, my name is Eric Banya. The best I can do is E Banya or Eric Banya. Simple. At gmail.com. If it is already being used, I asked from year there, 2024. Let it be very professional. I'm just emphasizing this because I have seen so many type of emails, and in some of them, if I mention to you, you yourself will not like to read it. So take note of that. And you see, he has already mentioned that. Number 8. Number 8, I think he mentioned chronologically. I will mention name your file properly. Name your file properly. You see, when an advert is sent out, most HR will get about 10,000 of CVs. If the HR is lucky enough to even download them, the application of CVs to a folder, if you don't name the files properly, nobody can search for you. Even when your friend's friend call the HR and say, oh, you take this person's CV, do you think I will open all the thousands attachments to get your own? I won't do it. So name it properly. Kofi Yabua dash CV or Kofi Yabua CV, Kofi Yabua CV dash project coordinator application. Simple. So that it's easy to trace. So take note of that. Very basic and simple. Now on the format, generally, unless otherwise stated by the employer, put your CV on PDF format. If you don't know how to do PDF, today's section is not to teach you how to do PDF. There will be a different section. Put your CV on PDF. Unless the employer says otherwise. So take note. Again, font sizes. These are very basic, but can irritate people. Don't write your CV where every section is a different font size. Some of them are Times New Roman, some of them are Calibra, some things are different. I have received CVs where the whole CV is italic or monotype cursiva. Monotype cursiva font is for artwork. It's not for CV. Like, you know, the one like your pen, you are writing some style. Don't do those styles. They are very professional fonts normally used for CVs. Times New Roman is about the basic one. I think which one again? I'm not having them in mind. Arial 12 can do, Calibro can do, Georgia can do, and forget of those designer ones. The designer ones are not meant for you to be using for your CV. Be truthful. My point number 11, be truthful on your CV. Do not lie. Do not take somebody's CV and put your name on it. In fact, the job will expose you, or the interview ground will expose you. So be mindful of that. Now there is, because of the high number of CVs received, most organizations use what we call applicant tracking system. You realize that they'll either ask you to fill a form online or you upload your CV online. If you don't follow the structure Mr. James has given you, the online system will pick different information wrongly. Please take note. That structure was not for anything that he was telling you. It is meant for people who are using online tracking to automatically pick your information and put online. Now, when it goes online, there is what we call the processing part, where the computer will automatically select CVs with some selling words, some keywords. If you take probably a field officer's CV, you will not find engineering terms on those ones. So if you are writing for a website developer and you don't use the words that are meant for that particular profession, when the computer is picking the CVs automatically, your own will not be picked. So that's why the screening process, you find very good candidates not even screened. You didn't use any word that's related to the job. So take note of that. Number 12, last one, I think that's number 12 I would like to mention, is avoid jargons. Avoid jargons. CVs are not the places for you to use your jargons. They should make use, the CV should be very catchy to the hiring manager and be suited to the purpose for which you are writing it. In all, these are the 12 points I would like to share. There may be many, but these are just generic based on my experience that I've been seeing people doing things wrongly. And these kind of points will put you a step ahead. Don't forget once again that qualification academic qualification constitutes just a very small proportion of why they will take you. Look, everybody has masters now. The commonest masters is even MBA. In this platform, we are currently 100 and something. I'm sure if you ask 60, 70 of us are having MBA. So what makes you different? So that is not your dwelling point. Your dwelling point should be on what makes you different from your other person. And when you do that, at least you may be called for an interview. When you get to the interview ground, it's now left with you and your God. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Over to you.
Awesome one there. Thanks so much, Mr. Eric Banyan, for that enlightenment and insight. Let me also add this. The interview, I started by mentioning that the interview has 3 sessions. The pre-interview, the interview, and the post-interview. Please, the post-interview has to do with the fact that even if you excel in the interview, and you weren't the only person that excelled, the organization has the capacity and the opportunity to still continue to monitor you from different angles. Some organizations can, after the interview, you have spoken so well, you've mesmerized them, then they earmark you for a job together with some other people. Then, by meanwhile, they check me one person. They begin to dig into your social media handles. So they go on your social media and they realize that you've been posting nasty things on your social media. you've even one time criticized the organization, the director did something, and you came on social media and chastised him to the core. Beware of what you do, even after the interview. Number two, please, just as my brother Eric eloquently put it up, that we also have what we call competency-based interviews. There are some interviews that are not just out for your level of communication, eloquence, or whatever. They want to measure your attitude. For instance, I remember there was an interview where they invited over 100 people for an interview, and the interview was supposed to take place in a big hall. They gave them seats to sit down. Just the hall was big, but they made them to sit just at one corner of the hall and to be entering one by one. Meanwhile, they set up a camera, and while they were inside the inner room, they were watching the hall, what was happening. And they had the fans. The fans were blowing even at a portion that nobody was sitting there. So all those who entered first came and went straight and sat on the seats that were provided. Then a gentleman came in and saw the fans that were blowing, and there was nobody sitting under the fan, no chairs there. The guy went straight and put off the fans. So when they were entering the interview and coming out, he just entered and they told him, "Congratulations, you have actually gotten the job." Because this has to do with attitude. It has to do with positive attitude. It means such a person will not cause risk in the organization. He has been trained and groomed to know that fans blowing without anybody sitting there will cause the organization. So he did that. Another one, another interview, a similar one like that. They were all going in, and then they put a tap. The tap was flowing, and the water was spilling over. People were jumping over the tap and going in to sit down and take their interview. Again, a lady came and saw the tap flowing without anybody without anybody fetching the water. She went and closed the tap. And when it got to her turn and she entered, she had a job. So please, don't go in with that old fashion of academic prowess to put your power of eloquence. It's not all about that all the time. That's the point I want to make.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Please, I just wanted to find out the ideal number of pages for a standard CV.
Let me rephrase the question and rather ask her. Would you like to develop a 10-page document or a 50-page document containing nothing about you?
No, please.
Certainly no. So the number of pages is not the most important thing, but the content of what is in the pages is what is important. Some organization will tell you the number of pages. They'll ask you to do a summarized version, 3-page, 5-page. If they don't do it and they leave it with you, please be more interested in the relevance of the information you are putting there than the number of pages. Okay? That's the most important thing. If I ask you that, do 10 pages, and you are just like a fresh graduate coming out from school, what are you going to do? Are you going to copy things from internet and fill it? No. So, in a nutshell, go for the relevance of the information on your CV if the employer has not given you any limit. If they've done the limit, they will not give you, bring 5 pages. No, they'll tell you not more than this number of pages. That's what they normally do.
Thank you very much. So we'll go to the chat room and pick 2 or 3 from there. Abubakar Albert Larry said, please, my issue has to do with dressing. I want to find out what kind of dressing is appropriate for men going for interview.
Mr. Henry.
Oh, you mean dresses?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. You know, probably because I'm in the international development field, we are not necessarily keen on dressing in a suit. Don't go and spend your last peso buying a very high suit to just go for an interview. But I think the point I just mentioned is that dress appropriately. Look, I've told people that even wearing a Ghanaian prince as a guy or even Kabayan slate can actually go for an interview. It can. It's different from you wearing a shorts. Please, I am not asking you to wear a shorts and a Lacoste t-shirt and go for it, and then probably some Balenciaga boots and go for an interview. You are not going for musicians interview, or you get up and wear some tattered jeans and go for such interview. It gives a wrong impression about you. You see, the simplest I can say is this: dressing in Ghana is based on where you are going. You don't wear a suit to the beach. Neither do you wear a bikini to the office. So if you are actually coming for an office assignment, dress appropriately. And I don't want to define what is appropriate for you or not, but everybody who is up to the employment age will actually know what is appropriate. Thank you.
Yeah, to add to that, please, if you have never worn shoes and then a suit before, don't try to venture on the day of an interview. You do it, you are not comfortable, you can't even walk, you are not comfortable in the suit, and you are sitting there. That alone is adding weight and pressure on you. So, as we said, just be simple, modest, and then decent. That's really important.
All right. Please, sir, please, if you are still a student, can one get the CV or unless when you are working?
You can even have a CV without even going to school before. Yes, the CV is not about your schooling. It's about you. So actually, you can be a farmer who has never gone to school, but you have a CV. It's just because we don't have those kind of CVs here. So you can have a CV even as a student. Thank you.
All right.
Let me ask this question. I want my brother Eric to say to just to throw some insight for us. What is the difference between a CV and an obituary?
I like that. I thought you were going to ask me a CV or a resume, but now, so in a very jovial way, one HR ever told me that, look, the obituary is also your CV. But then it's a very simple, it's a simplified version talking about the painful aspect. So the obituary, to be honest, is like your CV as well. But on a more serious note, it's also a CV. It's a description about you, but tailored for a particular purpose. Okay, for people to send condolences and solidarize with the bereaved family. But it's also clearly information all about you. But when we come to the employment CV, please, it's about now selling yourself to the person you want to hire you. On a more jovial note, I think that's it. But take note also the CV and resume. I mean, they're just minor differences about size and structure and the rest. But that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Nabu is also asking, is job interview different from religious interview? Because some of the body language is not allowed, like smiling.
Oh, I don't know religious interview, but smiling is allowed every environment. You can't actually go for an interview and frown throughout. You will be very unfriendly to the panel, and if the panel should frown towards you, how will you feel? I think Mr. James already mentioned that facial expression is a very inviting thing in an interview. So your facial expression should be top notch, smiley face. Even there are sometimes you can laugh over some few things in the interview ground. Some panels actually do that. Personally, when I see that there's a tension in the person, you crack a joke. So you laugh over it, then you go into serious business. But it is not your responsibility as an interviewee to be cracking jokes.
No.
But it is my responsibility as a panel member to crack jokes, to ease the tension that I probably see you on going through. But smiling is actually allowed interviews.
All right. The last one I will take is, my question is that, assuming I hold a master's degree, but a job advert says that you should have first degree. Can I indicate my master's qualification on my CV and cover letter, or I just state the requirements demanded of me?
Yes, you should indicate. Even if you have a PhD, indicate. Otherwise, you are lying. And lying on your CV, even when you are engaged, that comes out to what Mr. James mentioned at the post-interview ground. You can be taken but be fired because you lied. Okay? Most times the job will tell you a minimum of this.
Yeah.
That's what they will say. They will not say that a degree. So if you have higher than that, don't qualify, don't apply. You know, they normally do that for the salary range. So if you have a PhD and you are willing to go and take an HND salary, so be it. But if I am an employer, I will be hesitant to take you because I know you can easily leave. Okay, so that's why they define those minimums. That doesn't mean the Muslim cannot go in for. But in short, do not lie on your CV. It will expose you one day and they can take an issue against you. Thank you.
Thank you. There be no further question or clarification. I would like to express our profound gratitude to the facilitators and the organizers of this important training session. I say God bless you. We anticipate that you bring more of such to us.